Oh, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I have the softest touch. Now, as you know, this video was dealing with independent contractors, gig workers, self-employed, rideshare workers, etc. And I just want to kind of give an update on some information that I have received, as well as some updates of people who might be having difficulties if you aren't under those categories. Now, different states do it differently. At the end, I'm going to do a little synopsis, but at the end, I'm going to give you a lot more detail as far as Maryland. But far as now, I'm going to be talking about some tidbits that you may not know, because many of you may have applied. Oh, it's getting hot here. Many of you may have applied for unemployment insurance when you lost your work, or your work was cut dramatically, and you might have been denied, and you was denied because those systems for independent contractors, self-employed, gig workers, rideshare workers was not part of the system, unemployment system. So they had to create it. And what happened is some of them that created it, now there's a couple of states that's still lagging behind, but for the most part, there's a lot of states who have already implemented a system, but the system is not 100% tight. So that's what I'm going to be dealing with, like I said, at the end of this, with the Maryland part of it. But it also may apply to your state as well. So just take a listen. So real quick, I want to give a shout out to Kinsley Sheeney. She has an article on Nerd Wallet calling filing for coronavirus unemployment if you're self-employed. This is a phenomenal article. It details everything. So if you're trying to get any understanding of how this works and what the ones work and get it in more detail, this is definitely the website. I'm gonna put the link up under the description side, so please check it out. And it also has some other little tidbits that's really good. So nonetheless, let's get into this. Now, the coronavirus relief package is two of them. You got the PUA, and that's the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. Now, that one runs different than the FPUC, which is the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation. Now, the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Compensation, how that works is you can get that up to, let me make sure I got it right, the 39 weeks. Right? However, your state determines how much you're going to get and how long you're going to, not how long you're going to get it, but how much you're going to get. And it determines what who's eligible and things of that nature. It also gives you it starts you with the minimum amount of benefits, and then it increases. Now that's just on the benefit side. Now the pandemic money, again, they determine, your state determines what that amount is going to be for you. It also covers, which is good, this is a good thing, it also covers people who, normally when people file for unemployment, you have 4 quarters that you're working with. So they take your 4 quarters, find out how much you make in those 4 quarters, and they break it down to how much you're going to get. So, but you might have some people who might have just started work, they might have come out of retirement, they might have just had part-time jobs and whatever. So anyway, their work history and their wage history is not that great. So this particular one would help those people get benefits. So that's a good thing on that end, right? That's a good thing. Okay. Now the second part is you have the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation. And that one is the one to give you $600 a week, guaranteed flat. Now, with that one, it only runs up until July 31st. However, I didn't see it on this website because I didn't go that deep into it as far as this article. But I did go into some other research and found that if you already receive unemployment benefits and you have, and your benefits, they allow you to say 13 weeks of benefits. Well, if it surpassed that July 31st, you will still get the COVID pay compensation after that time because you're already in the system. So just for y'all to know that. Now, both of these two things are retroactive. So if you originally applied and you were denied, I would suggest you go back in and reapply again, because now they have the system set up. So what happens is when you reapply, you will take it all the way back until when you were either unemployed or your wages were dramatically cut, and you will take it back to that date. Now, but know this, with the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, if that's how your state is set up, then that you can go all the way back to January 27th of this year and ask for compensation all the way back to then. If you're looking for, if your state is running the federal pandemic unemployment compensation, or you qualify, because your state may run both, I'm not sure, but if it does and you qualify under the federal pandemic unemployment compensation, you can go as far back as March 29th to be compensated. And what happens is, once you're approved, all of that will be given to you at once. Now, far as Maryland, I want y'all to, let me say this too. Also on that website, if you're denied, and it says this on this on that in that article, if you're denied benefits after now that the system is already set up, some states automatically, if you went for regular unemployment, because some states, like I said, are different. Like with Maryland, they just had a system for regular working people who get a W-2. If you get a 1099 or 1099 miscellaneous things of that nature, then there was no system for you. So what happens is, again, when you apply, you got denied. Now, in some states that may have that for both parties, what happens is, if you went and applied and you were denied, it would automatically move you to see if you qualify for the pandemic. Not all states do that. So know that if it does that for you, you're great. If it also may ask you, if it does that, to submit more information to them. Now, also know that if they don't do that, find out if your state do that, and you can always go on your state website. And like I said, this other article may actually give you some of that information. But again, it's always good to go to your state site and pull this up, and then you can see how that works, because you might have to request it yourself if you were denied. But again, if you were denied strictly based off of the fact that your state did not have unemployment set up for independent workers, self-employed gig workers, or rideshare workers, then you need to go back and reapply. Just apply again for that. And then you will notice that a lot of times, like with the Beacon here in Maryland, when you go in, you'll see a date there, but then they have a box where you can adjust the date, and you just adjust the date back to when you received. Because by the Forbes article, as long as you're able to receive $1 of your compensation of unemployment, you automatically will qualify for the pandemic relief. So I want to say that now, as far as Maryland, I want people to understand that I get a lot of people who's been having problems with this Beacon system. Again, the system was not originally set up for independent rideshare gig workers or independent contractors. So what happened is, now that it's been set up, it's still not tight. You might have found out, or if you might have noticed that when you applied, question 1 tells you to put in gross, question 5 tells you to put in net. Now, when they first started it, that's how they had it set up. So when you put in your gross and your net, unfortunately, what was happening, which a lot of people are not aware of, they were adding the two numbers together. So if you say I made $400, but my net was $200, it looked like you made $600. Because what happens is, you're supposed to take out your expenses and then only submit your expenses, but that's not the way it was set up for you to do, and it didn't tell you that originally. Now it's telling you to, as of a couple of weeks ago, it's telling, a few weeks I think, nonetheless, it's telling you now, when you go in, to put in your net amount in number 1 after your gross, after your expenses, and then in 5 is as you for your net again. So again, there's a conflict. So if you put it in your number 1 and number 5 as it's telling you to, it's going to add it all up. So again, if you made $500 and you only brought home $200, it's going to look like you made $700. So that's going to probably put you over your benefit amount, which will deny you benefits for that week, as well as the COVID pandemic compensation. So what you might want to do is go back and check to see what numbers they have you down. If they have you listed as made more than your weekly benefit amount, go back and check your records. So if your weekly benefit amount is $300 and you made $250, or even $299, and it's saying that you made too much, that's probably because the amount in 1 and the amount in 5 are being added. So what you have to do is contact them. They have a contact at the bottom, a Beacon contact, and you can send an email through that, or you can copy and paste that email address into your personal address of your email, and then that way it's personal. And why is it saying, it's saying something else? So nonetheless, that's what's happening. So now what you're going to have to do, what we're being told that a person has to do, is you just put your net amount after your expenses in one, and then in number 5, when they ask you for your net, just put 0, so that way your true amount will be there until they be able to fix the system. So just want you to know that. But if you contact them through that beacon, you will definitely get a good response back. And it's pretty much of a timely response, considering how many people are going through. But just wanted to give you guys that tidbit, because it's nothing little disturbing than you apply, you should get something and you didn't. And also know, we even had a young lady who, they said that she didn't qualify because she was $2 over. Now, at any given time that they say you're over, man, they tell you the amount that you're over. Like I said again, if your benefit amount is $400 and you made $412, you know you're $12 over. So anytime, if you get reduced another hour or so, or if your gross amount, mainly if you with a W-2, mainly if you have a W-2, let me say this, mainly if you have a W-2, that's when that applies. So more so when it applies, that if you are over that amount, if you happen to lose an hour or two and you realize that I'm under that, whatever my benefit amount is, as long as you collect $1, if you're under it $1, you can go back and apply, and that way you'll get that $1. That's whatever that difference is, you would get that plus the $600 copay. But one thing, not copay, COVID pay. And also, let me say this, because I noticed that a lot of people are not getting taxes taken out of this money. And they understand times are tight. You're trying to get back on track. But remember, the COVID pay that you're getting, whether it's determined by your state or if it's the flat $600 a week, you are getting way more than you would get if you were just getting your regular unemployment. So it's better, because you're getting extra. It's better to get them taxes taken out now, because later it's going to add to your overall amount. If you go back to work, it's going to add to that, and you might have to end up paying taxes instead of getting something back. So it's always better to be proactive and keep yourself safe on that. And also, if you are independent contractor, gig worker, self-employed, or what was the other one? Independent contractor, you got to make sure that as it was April, June, September, and January of the next year, make sure you sending something in towards your taxes, because if not, you will be taxed and penalized if you're not, and it will make your tax thing higher. So just start sending something in. Why is it saying this? Okay, so just start sending something in so that you will be able to make sure that you're good at tax time. So I wanted to note that, and I hope I got everything I needed out, and I hope this is helpful to you guys. But again, check out Miss Kinsley article. Again, that's filing for coronavirus unemployment compensation if you're self-employed, and that's on Nerd Wallet. All right, so hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. It's supposed to storm and thunder and hail, so y'all be safe out here. All right, love y'all with the love of the Lord, and I hope you do the same. All right, bye-bye. That's wrong side.